Some days the timeline just hands you the receipts without even trying. Today it handed me 6 moments that don't need a filter. A man celebrating violence, a woman calling for a paycheck, a simple question that turned into a racial crime scene, an old school rapper saying the quiet family business out loud, and a bishop who refuses to apologize for loving his country, and a black woman who got talked down to by someone who thought she was doing her a favor. Stay with me. First up, this is the part that should make every normal person sit up straight.
I might get criticized for this, but I honestly don't give a shit. Because when I go to these white people's posts, all I see is racist ass shit and the purge this and the purge that. Hey, y'all can say what y'all want about that black man in Charlotte punching all them white girls. Hey, all I say, he taking out the white trash. I don't know what the women did. They probably didn't do shit. But neither did the babies that they done killed. Neither did the men they done killed, sodomized. There's a lot of shit that I get to thinking about. And it's just, I don't care that much that these ladies got their ass beat to the floor. I don't care that much. He should still go to jail, though.
So a black man on camera saying the attacker was just taking out the white trash. Not condemning it, not calling it wrong, celebrating it, in fact. And the comments underneath him was smiling about it. That's not justice or history, man. That's just, bloodlust wearing a racial costume. When you start cheering for random people getting knocked unconscious because of the skin, you've already lost the argument in a more high ground in the same breath. And it didn't stop at one man in the comment section either.
And I bet if we start hunting them, the problems would stop. If we start hunting them like they're hunting us, the problems would stop. If we start hunting them like they're hunting us, the problems would stop. More crimes against humanity. I said what I said. Now I'm gonna keep on saying it.
Wow. A woman in a security uniform looking dead in the camera talking about an eye for an eye, basically, and how problems get solved if black people start hunting white people. She even said she expected it to go viral. And that's not even frustration, man. That's the permission slip we always talking about. The same people who lose their minds over hate speech somehow get real quiet when a speech is aimed in this direction. It's interesting how selective the outrage becomes. Now, I want you to watch how fast the temperature changes when the topic is something as simple as hair.
I have a question. How much do you black girls pay for braids? I'm so curious on what the price of the maintenance of that is. Because I just saw someone on Instagram post, they was in LA, but it was like, are there any braiders that charge less than $400? Do you not have to get those braids redone every 3 weeks? $400 on hair every 3 weeks? You can't be serious.
Girls, blackies.
How much do you pay for braids? How much do you cotton?
How much do you white bitches pay for coke and clip-ins?
How much do you black girls pay for braids? And then people in the comments is like, what do you mean? What do you mean? If I say the sky is blue, you're gonna be like, why did I emphasize blue so much? What's up with you and blue? Like, let's not be dumb. When I first heard that video, when she said, how much you black? I had to rewind the video because I got shooketh. I'm like, I had to rewind the video to make sure that the second time I still felt shooketh. And I did. I didn't like that. I will shoot you.
How much do you ghetto watermelon munching, hooting and hollering like Mercedes from Glee, Lil Inez from Hairspray looking black girls pay for your braids?
Got a better question. How much do you white bitches pay to put extensions in your hair and for blowouts? How much do you white bitches pay to get those ugly ass tans that you guys get? Like, bitch, these are little If somebody is getting some tiny ass braids, you don't understand the work that goes into braiding somebody's hair. Not only are you actively forming carpal tunnel as you braid, the more you braid, but that shit takes all day. So yes, people are paying $400, $200. Bitch, mind your business.
First of all, don't call them black girls like that. And why did you need to add you in front of that? It just sounds racist. Your question is stupid and loaded. To ask how much black women pay for braids is to ask as though you don't understand that braids can mean a host of different things. I mean, would you shut your ass up? Braids can be box braids. They could be cornrows. They could be braids with weave in them. It could be a whole host of things. So what do you mean by how much do they pay for braids? Depends on the style, you idiot. Now, let's talk about how much you white girls pay to look like those black girls. How much y'all pay for them braids? You know them ones that come out in 30 minutes? How about them dirty-ass dreads y'all be wearing? How much y'all pay for them? Here's an idea. Why don't you get out of black women business? Or stop being a scared little bitch and take your ass down there to a braiding shop in the hood and ask one of the braiders. We call those salons. Oh, head ass white girl.
Women pay for your hair. Emphasize on the black. Curiosity.
A white woman asks how much black girls pay for braids. I mean, that was basically it. And the reaction treated her like she walked into a church and started cussing. Grown adults losing their minds over the word black being used in a sentence about black hair. You know, if curiosity itself is now considered an attack, then nobody can ever ask anything without risking a digital firing squad. And that's not protection at all. Insecurity with a megaphone. Now, this next one is family business. A family business is usually the hardest to talk about.
We was betrayed and sold.
Okay.
To the point where I feel like it's my option to patronize that title or not. All due respect to him, if something jumped off and all black people were attacked, I would stand with them for survival.
Great.
I find a lot of them arrogant and condescending and disrespectful to Afro-Americans when they're here on the civil rights that our mothers and fathers and grandfathers fought for. I just think they ought to be a little bit more respectful under all the circumstances, that they betrayed us, backstabbed us, served us, sold us, and then they're living in America benefiting off of the civil rights that we fought for. That being said...
You're talking about white America, correct?
No, I'm talking about Africa. I'm talking about
you're talking about Africans that came over.
Right.
Okay.
The Africans, they sold us.
Right.
They sold us in slavery.
Right.
Then, you know, a lot of them are condescending.
Okay.
Disrespectful toward Afro-Americans.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that being said, I call myself an Afro-American.
Okay.
Not denying I'm a descendant of an African.
Okay.
But just before the betrayal, I call myself an Afro-American.
That's Code Shannon to get $50 in.
So Afroman, he didn't stutter. He said a lot of Africans come here arrogant, condescending, and disrespectful to Afro-Americans, as he coined it, while living off the civil rights that our parents and grandparents fought for. Then he went further and brought up the fact that some of their ancestors sold ours. It's just the fact. You know, our ancestors sold us. It's just what it is. You know, you can feel the room get quiet when a black man says that out loud because it's true. And the truth inside, you know, the community is different than truth from outside. Nobody wants to talk about that betrayal, but it still sits in the room. And now, here's the man who refuses to let anybody rewrite the story.
We ought to be celebrating, not denigrating our country. So it makes me angry when people do this to our country. But it's sad, too, because what it tells me is that the indoctrination machine is hard at work, convincing people that this narrative, I mean, she talks about how history should be a tool of social justice. No, history should be facts about what has happened in the past and leave others to draw their own conclusions about what those facts mean. But no, she wants to use history to try to get people to think a certain way and respond a certain way, and namely to be somewhat angry and bitter and resentful of our country because of our past. That we have to have reparations. But the fact of the matter is, if you were born an American, you hit the proverbial lottery because you have more opportunity and hope than any people living anywhere else on the planet. We ought to be celebrating.
Bishop E.W. Jackson, descendant of slaves, standing there saying America is still the greatest nation on earth, and that being born here is like hitting a lottery. He's looking at the Smithsonian turning history into a permanent grievance session and saying, no, history is supposed to be what happened, not a tool to keep people angry and dependent. When a man whose family actually lived through the worst of it still chooses gratitude over bitterness, that should make a lot of people uncomfortable, for all the right reasons. And this last one is the reason the title is here.
Y'all better know the game. Just because someone gifts you something, sometimes people will give you a gift with strings attached. Have you ever heard of that? The strings attached, as I have already said, are broken households, broken children, broken promises, and broken neighborhoods that are economically disadvantaged from liberal policies. And they were never intended. And the worst thing that the political left has done is use a person who is Black to supposedly help the Black community. They don't do that. They fill their own pockets, and they have the absolute audacity to call people like me, that C word that rhymes with moon. They call us that. They call us the bootlickers and the Sambos when it's actually them. Because these Black Democrat politicians, the Black Democrat politician, the Black preacher, and the Black activists are working and conspiring together to keep Black people oppressed in a permanent state of victimhood, focusing on injustices of the past so that they can be beholden to the Democrat Party, who they believe is the only one that can speak for them without even paying attention to the absolute demise of their own communities, the schools. Public schools are graduating people that can't even read.
So, a white liberal woman tries to explain to a Black woman why she shouldn't be around certain people. Talk to her like she's a child who wandered into the wrong neighborhood. And the Black woman just looks at her and says the quiet part with her chest. You're the one who thinks I'm inferior. You're the one who believes I can't think for myself. That's the soft bigotry, right there in our definition. The kind that smiles while it puts a leash on you and calls it help. Democrats have spent decades telling Black people that independence is dangerous and that thinking for yourself is somehow betrayal. And then act shocked when somebody finally says the leash is tight. Let's look at the whole picture for a second, right? We went from open celebration of racial violence to calls for, hunting white people, to melting down over a hair question, to a rapper telling family secrets, to a bishop refusing to hate his own country, and a Black woman rejecting the soft racism that comes dressed up as concern. This is not 6 random moments. If anything, it's a mirror. Some people only feel powerful when somebody else is beneath them. Some people only feel safe when the story stays broken. And some people have built entire careers on making sure Black Americans never feel like the story can actually improve. But every once in a while, somebody steps on camera and reminds you that dignity still exists, that gratitude still exists, that a Black man can love this country without apology, or a Black woman can think for herself without permission. That's the part that they obviously can't script. It doesn't need a narrative manager. Now, if this one hit different, I want you to write the word mirror in the comments so I know you stayed into the end. And if you want something to carry with you, don't be deceived. God is not to be mocked, for whatever one sows, that will he also reap. This is Galatians 6 and 7. But I also want to leave you with, he has told you, oh man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you but to do justice and to love kindness and to walk humbly with your God. This is Micah 6 and 8. These are scriptures that I've been focused on this month, actually. You guys be safe. Check on somebody today. You can quite literally be saving their life. Peace.